Hello and welcome back, everyone. Fuzzy Esports, they take the game one in the series. It was close one though, and we should be getting ready for a game two in a couple of minutes. So Byron, it's all about the adaptations now.
Yeah, CBA, no stranger to a best of five, so I'm expecting them to have some plans. I mean, the competition they played the first game, I felt not only were there a few misplays in it, but it didn't cater to their team's strengths. I want to see this game them set themselves up for a late game team fighting composition front to back. What they had right there, it wasn't really that much front to back. There were a lot of pick potentials, a lot of ability to side lane, but there wasn't much of that team fight really in there. And so I want to see CBA back to their roots, get that real scaling AD carry, get a few tanks in there, and just be like, alright, late game team fighting, put it on Vanguard, what can he do? Because for Esports, they played a good proactive mid game, but I think in those fights, if there was a better team fight composition there from CBA, that turns it, and all of a sudden CBA come home for the win.
And also CBA, there were, I believe, some, I'm gonna call them mechanical problems, even though they weren't necessarily mechanical. Like, one of the things is Gyazo on Rakan, not the best looking game one. Maybe he just decides that it was an unlucky game and goes with it again. But then the CBA's decisions around 14-15 minutes, the two plays that got Caliphate, I feel like if they didn't happen, we were probably going to be looking at a very much different game one. So if CBA just decide to be like, alright, those are the mistakes, we're not doing it again, we can play exactly what we played, they can still be coming back in the series with fair ease.
Oh, they certainly can. I mean, a lot of their players have such carry potential. We saw a little bit of Imported Chicken last game have a decent lane lead. But Paulson, I mean, he had a good game, to be honest. I mean, sure, the rest of his team struggled, but I still feel like Paulson did have a good game, to be honest. I feel like if he had a better team around him in that game on, if people started to perform, he could have been the shining star. A shocking underperformance, though, I think, from Gyazo and from the jungler unknown Swede, because both those players, they're the key engagers in those fights. They need to be the ones calling, okay, but going in here, this is who we're focusing. And for me, the issue that game very much so for CBA was the target focus. You looked at a lot of those team fights, and Kyle the Turtle, who we talked about, was the main source of Fuzzy's damage, was untouched for a lot of those fights. That cannot happen in this game. So you can't just let an AD carry sit in the middle of the fight and survive, because you will lose off that.
You definitely will, as we're waiting for some of the players to come back before we start this pick and ban. So CBA are back on the blue side, or I believe Fuzzy Esports have chosen the red side, and that is what we will be going with. So the first pick is available again, and if you cast your minds back to game one, CBA went for that Silas. Do you think they're gonna go for it again?
I think the Silas is still a good pick. Not only is it great in terms of getting Imported Chicken, one of his great champs, but it also adds a lot of flexibility. But you look on the other side of the rift, and you look at someone like Z, for example. One of his biggest champions in SQ1 is that Silas. He loves playing it himself, and so that's kind of what I want to look at, is that not only is it a pick that allows them a lot of flexibility, it gets them a power pick, but also it takes away from Fuzzy Esports' opportunities. And it certainly wasn't the Silas that was the big fault in CBA's team composition. However, if they want to go for a late game front-to-back team fight, they have to be wary about picking the Silas, because if you have a Silas, then a damaged character mid lane, then a damaged champion in AD carry, as I'm sure you will, and all of a sudden only jungle and support can really go those tanky picks. And sure, Gyazo and Unknown Swede, they weren't able to really be an active frontline in that game, so I do worry if they try and put the frontlining onto those two players again, will it just be the same thing over and over again, where it's that target focus that kind of slips down? And that's that kind of question about this Silas. Do you want to pick it and go take it mid lane mainly, and then get a tank top lane? But I mean, I feel like if you're going to pick so much damage as CBA, they have to be so wary about it, because last game, if you don't have the focus, you just get popped before you can output all your damage.
Alright, many question marks currently sitting above CBA. Of course, that was just the first game. As long as they don't lose this one, it's still okay. If they do, then they will be in a tough spot. And CBA, You know, I'm just gonna say that this will be the thing that I will repeat like at least 10 more times today, but they are the defending champions from the spring split, and they are definitely looking to at least make it to the finals, and I believe that for these players themselves, anything short of making it a repeat will be a disappointment. But then Fuzzy Esports, they're also coming in, looking strong, not necessarily at the beginning, but since then, like it even seems like a heresy to remember when Fuzz Esports just lost 5 games in a row or something like that at the beginning of the split.
Yeah, it certainly does. And one thing to note as well is that with that similar playstyle to CBA, you remember CBA's story last split? It was almost a similar thing. They weren't coming in as the highest seed at the regular season, but they rocketed through those playoffs. And Fuzzy Esports, they're setting themselves up to do a similar thing. And this is where my questions get directed towards CBA, because they are the defending champions of the SQ1 Champions League. This is where they show their mettle. This is where they show the class that we expect from a champion. And now we're heading into game 2. What can they show us? What are they going to bring out? What's their adaptation?
The first question is, what are they going to ban out? Are we going to stick with the same bans, or are they going to be shaken up? I think Corki is definitely on minds of many people. Is Kale going to get his hands on it again? I feel like Kiana is a must ban for this entire series, just because Hopper, if he can play it in the jungle, it can absolutely wreak havoc through your team.
Oh, it's certainly, and that Kiana is such a huge pick, not only for flexibility, but also we've seen Hopper do some ridiculous things on that champion. But once again, they're sticking with the Xayah ban, and this is something I want to criticize a little bit from last game, because they picked the Rakan, but didn't have a Xayah open because they banned it. So that Rakan, we saw it in the game, didn't really get up to that much, and my worry is if Yasuo opts for it again without that Xayah, could it be leading to a lot of problems? But first, adaptation, that Shen getting took away from Bumblebee. They did not like that global pressure one bit.
Yeah, Silas is still open, so they could go for it, but I actually no buts. It is open, they go for it, they just pick it. It can be flexed around, it doesn't have to go top lane like last time. I feel like one of the reasons it went top lane was to steal that stand united and be able to join your team across the map.
Yeah, it certainly was a possibility, but this time, that's not a Shen. That ain't that. Wow.
Bumblebee and Renekton. He played a champion a few times. He's good. I believe he had some good games on it as well. It's a lane bully. It's pretty much everything that you want for the side of CBA. You go for the aggressive top lane early on in the draft, and I want to see how CBA respond to it.
Well, this side doesn't have to go top lane. As the key thing you have to remember here, I would like Galena to pick something a lot safer now in the top lane. Stop Bumblebee from getting any sort of lead in that lane. Just try and play it out and not let him snowball. And then let your other side of the map, with Lucian now, get accelerating ahead, push them forward, because this Renekton, such a huge source of early pressure, but will fall off in the late end of the game. And picking it so early, it is a risk. Question is, do they want to bring that Silas down to the mid lane, or is Galena still comfortable enough on it to try and take it into a Renekton?
Hoppy, alright. I like it a lot, especially that the change there was to the steadfast presence, where if you interrupt a dash, they are grounded for 2 seconds. That is a long time. And if Fuzz Esports decide to go for any more dash champions, it's only gonna get worse.
It certainly is, and that Poppy also can be deceptively strong in terms of damage.
Oh yes!
Oh, someone's happy. As a Garen main myself, I can say I'm very happy to see that Garen Yuumi is a thing now, and it isn't actually a meme. Garen's a genuine competitive pick. But Garen Yuumi, they are such a strong bottom lane because of the ability of having that Yuumi attached to a Garen and having that Garen just run it down at the speed of sound. It's so hard to deal with in that bottom lane, and I'm super excited to see this happen because, you know, they tried to cook game 1, it worked very well, but it would have been predictable going into game 2. With a Lucian, who doesn't have as much range compared to many other AD carries, he could very easily get cut out here.
I'm just looking forward to that ball lane. I want to see what will happen. Of course, the early levels not as strong for that duo of Garen and Yuumi, but once you hit level 11 or somewhere around that, oh boy, things get absolutely real. I'm not gonna talk about the Haver, but if that is gonna be a Twisted Fate and Fuzz Esports, they've got so many picks just coming out, and I'm just trying to make sense of it all right now.
Well, Fuzzy Esports are doing their best Fnatic impression right now. They've got the Guarantee bot lane, which they've busted out, the TF mid, which you've seen a lot, and a Renekton top lane, and a priority top laner in. What that plan is going to be this game is
Go
kind
Lee
of.
Sin.
Well, it'd be great to see Lee Sin, I wouldn't complain. But use that TF global pressure and use it to try and get Bumblebee ahead. Use top lane priority to alleviate some pressure on the bot lane. Or, on the other hand, make Roam plays bot lane and get a snowball for this Garen Yumi who, as he talks about, when they hit that level 11 point, they are such a scary combo in the mid game, running at the speed just down towards your backline. But the Pike Lucian, that's one heck of a kill lane, and it could be what stunts that Garen Yumi from getting to the point they want to be at.
CBA definitely laid their cards out clear. We're not gonna let you scale in the bot lane. We are going to kill you at whatever the cost will be. This is where all the pressure will be on Kale and on Nick for Mercer, and also on Hopper. His pick is now being hovered. Right now it's the Gragas, and I believe it has been locked in. Oh yeah, so we will have a lot of expectations now in this game to stand out. Mostly, I'm looking at CBA bot lane. Can they get the kills? Fuzzy's for bot lane. Can they not die? And then also Z on the Twisted Fate in the mid lane. You pick the roaming champion. You will have to deliver on it.
Yeah, you certainly will. And this top lane can really negate the pressure that Bumblebee's going to have. Because I feel like both junglers, and Sweden and Hopper, going to have a little bit of anything in the top lane. Going to be an important matchup because they need to get Bumblebee ahead. But also bot lane, I feel like has so much snow potential, but on both sides. Lucian and Pike, such a strong early game duo. One of the strongest in the game in that bot lane. But at the same time, how hard are they going to realistically be able to punish a Garen Yumi? Because they do have a lot of defensive abilities down to Yumi's peel tools with the heal, with the movement speed. But also, Garen has his own form of movement speed, has a silence in this kit, has the ability to reduce a lot of CC that goes down onto him. Really, Garen, despite the fact he doesn't have any of that hard mobility, could still very easily get out of these plays because he is that tanky pick. So the question is, are we seeing this jungle pressure go down to the bot lane or go down to the top lane? Because that's very much what this is going to be about, the side lanes. Mid lane, we've got OG Poster set up on a Scaler and Z set up on a Roamer. We're not expecting action there. It's going to be all about which lanes are getting back on the side lane, how do those matchups affect the other areas in the map, and can they get objectives out of those matchups?
And talking about the top lane, I love Imported Chicken's pick. He goes for the Poppy. You've got that steadfast presence, you can deny the ganks, and what you're up against, Renekton and Gragas, two champions that rely on dashes to get to you. If Fuzzy Esports want to focus around the top lane, I think Imported Chicken, he'll just be able to walk out and laugh in their face.
Oh yeah, he very likely will. The issue is that I feel like he can peel off the Renekton very well, he can peel off the Gragas very well. What about the Garen?
And you've got the Cassiopeia for that though.
Well, I mean, sure, but I'm worried about that because I feel like the Poppy, if she is her keeper's verdict a little bit too early, then all of a sudden, Kali's got free access to that backline, and realistically, Paulson is going to be the big player in these team fights. It isn't going to be Vanguard because he's going to be an Lucian, and Lucian in the late game not going to be hugely impactful. So, Ocean Paulson going to need to have a lot of peels centered around him. What's able to happen is a bit of poke happening in the mid lane right now, but general, traditional starting positions happening here.
Yeah, we'll most likely see those Raptor wards come out as always, as just a standard line of coverage, no one going anywhere. Yasuo is technically playing a Pike, but who are you realistically invading? A Garen is tough to kill even at level 1.
Yeah. The difference with Garen that makes him vulnerable isn't the fact that he's easy to kill, it's more the end of he's poke. And if step over the wave as Garen, this big melee champion, Lucian, as well, Vanguard should be able to get free autos and Kale this whole laning phase, because every time he starts for a last hit, he's going to be at a range disadvantage. I'm expecting that to be where the advantages come from for Vanguard and Gazadotni. Soften up Garen Yumi, and then eventually use that kind of mid-low health bar, get the all-in and secure the kill off of that. You're not just going to be able to jump in level 2 and get it.
Alright, now the laning phase has officially begun. It's going to be really slow, at least that's what I am expecting, as Yeah, not a lot of action happening in the lanes right now. And that's, to be honest, very standard, at least with this setup. Vanguard and Gyazo, they will be much more scary later on, but for now they just can't do a whole lot on level 1.
But what surprised me there is that Vanguard is happy pushing in the lane here, and really shouldn't be doing this, in my opinion. I mean, could look to bring it back to his lane, his side of the lane, and try and freeze it there, which would be a smart decision too. So I may be just calling it too early, but you don't want to be shoving the lane into Kai the Turtle, because that means he's able to catch the minions and be able to secure some assets for himself. Whereas if you're able to bring the wave to a more neutral position and then freeze it there, you're forcing Kali to have to walk up this big, long bot lane. And every time he steps in, he's going to take some more damage, and that's going to slowly whittle over time. But Z, he's got very low very quickly, hasn't he?
Yeah, there was one good trade in favor of Paulson happening just a second ago. Both mid laners, though, with a corrupting potion that does give them a lot of sustain, at least before they run out, as both junglers now around this mid lane. Unknown Sweet could be looking for a repeat of the game one, same position. This time on the Silas, can he get maybe even a kill? There goes the miasma, good flash away from Z.
Very, very nice from him there, just to escape that gank, but unfortunately means that he's going to be down a flash down this lane, but look at the roam.
Here comes Hopper, Z is there as well, there goes the body slam and the flash, good phantom undertow from Gyazo, gets the double stun. Z's looking for the gold card, Vanguard's flash will be the only casualty of this engage in the ball lane for CBA.
Yeah, I mean, it's a flash for flash. Hopper loses his one for Vanguards, and unfortunately not able to secure the CC down onto Vanguard in time. Means he gets out, and they don't really get much off of that. What they do get is a little bit of pressure off of Kai the Turtle, allows him to secure a good bit of CS, get that back off. Still fairly even in this lane, where I was expecting a huge lead for Vanguard right now. But that's fine, still a bit of jungle pressure.
Bumblebee actually losing out on the 1v1 trades, at least for the time being in top lane. Keeping it even in terms of CS. The goal is also even. Still no first blood being picked up for either team. Last game was also slow, then it kind of exploded, but yeah, I feel like this time we might be getting an even slower game.
Yeah, but in terms of the slower game, the question is now, who would it favor in the long run? Because looking right now, Gary Neiman, we've talked about that being a very strong mid-late game pickup. But I look on the other side, and Poppy versus Rex, and Poppy's going to be a lot more useful in the late game. Cassiopeia versus Twisted Fate. Cassiopeia is going to be huge in this late game. So really, most of the spot lane matchup is very much towards Calaturtle and Necromercenary in the late game. The rest of the matchups kind of tip a little bit in CBA's favor. So overall, it's still fairly even if we were to head into a late game right now, because both teams, they have potential late games options. It isn't just like one team wins late game.
Very similar story to last game, I believe, at least in terms of the comps themselves. Maybe we'll see a different story when it comes to the plays that are going to be set up by both of these teams, but we predicted it, or at least I thought that this was going to be the case, that the early game is not going to matter a huge deal in those games. Kala last time it was around 40 minutes. I guess you could class this as a mid game already, that he got those kills. And that's just because of the way those teams play. Mid-game seems to be the first time they start doing something big, as now Yasuo misses the bone skewer, it was close, Kale just spins away.
That's really, really good for them, because not only did they learn where Unknown Speed is, just a single flash is burnt in that bot lane, but the only flash really for Kale. And that flash cooldown is so important. We know that Yuumi doesn't have one, and so if we're able to secure the flash away from the Garen, he has no mobility spells, or hard mobility spells, to get out of another gank, and so it makes the regank so much more appealing if we're able to secure the flash there. The difference is, Unknown Speed does not get that flash, and so he's going to have to gank at least probably about 2 more times in that bot lane if he wants to try and secure Vanguard and Gyazo a big lead.
Gyazo now roaming up the river, Hopper sitting in the brush, preparing for a play, but it's 3 members of CBA around that mid lane. Gyazo hopping over the wall. Z has hit the Destiny. You can use that Twisted Fate ultimate to make the moves around the map. The first Drake is Cloud, so not a lot of priority will be put towards this one.
Yeah, I don't imagine it'll be a one that everyone rushes to, but I would like to see it I feel like it has strengths of both teams, especially for Fuzzy Esports because of that Garen pick. He needs to be able to get into the backline in those team fights, and with a Cloud Drake, it's only going to make this job
The
easier.
Predator, Paulson has got both sounds. There goes the cleanse. The flash, he still holds on to it, and Anon Sweet goes in for the return gang. Hopper down to half HP already. The Petricide Burst just chunks him low. No one loses any summoners apart from Paulson's cleanse. It's so even.
Both junglers going to meet themselves in the river too.
Oh, Unknown Sweet, he could win this one. Hopper, he's so low. That's the first blood. Going over to Unknown Sweet. Now Z could be in a lot of trouble. That's the hijack Destiny from the Silas. Knockup from the Keepers. The verdict. An imported chicken picks the kill up. CBA with 2 kills at the beginning of the game.
And that is straight disrespectful from Hopper. You're going up against Silas, who does beat you in that 1v1. You're at a health disadvantage, but you still decide, no, I want to go into that river where he's going to be, and I'm going to try and beat him. You don't beat him, good sir. You go down, and it will be that first blood going over to Unknown Sweden. With that pressure coming down, it's going to mean wonders for the rest of CBA's map, having that very strong jungler heading into your lanes.
And we are gonna, of course, see the replay of that Hopper. He kind of overextends.
Yeah, and also keep an eye on here. Renekton still not winning that top lane in 1v1, so Imported Chicken allowed to just walk down to this mid lane here and help secure that second kill. And thanks to that roam, not only is it now Hopper who's behind, but also the CS differential mid lane favored towards Paulson because he no longer has that priority that he was having in the early game.
And overall the gold now 1000 in favor of CBA. It's very similar to how the last game went, with CBA being ahead in early. This time Kala isn't on a hard snowballing champion, but I feel like the other person we need to be looking at is Z, just because he's going for the AD Twisted Fate, and he's going to scale really well into the late game.
Oh yeah, he will certainly, and that Twisted Fate, I mean, the global pressure hasn't really been seen yet. He had a bit of trouble in that last fight, but the next time he's have to score a bit of priority, he could look to make that player of the Destiny. And we know how important that first roam is going to be on champions like Twisted Fate to try and push one of his lanes ahead. But eyes on Imported Chicken, because he's importing himself to the mid lane right now.
Looking for the roams, flash available for Z. Steadfast presence is gonna be poked. Paulson throws down the miasma. You just cannot escape if you're Z. That's Paulson securing himself a kill.
And once again, Bumblebee losing out in the 1v1, letting Imported Chicken leave the lane, and then once again goes mid lane and kills Z. Both of the kills that have happened on, to Z have been because of this Poppy, not because of Inland Swede. It's been Poppy in both of these plays.
Here comes the bone skewer. Kala in a lot of trouble. 3 members of CBA. The death from below doesn't quite get the kill. Vanguard able to secure it with the double tap. Auto attack, and CBA, they are just keeping the plays rolling. That's the 4th kill. That's 2000 ahead. It's looking good for them in game 2.
Is that, and these leads going to be so much more important because they're not on those early game champions anymore. They're on champions like Cassiopeia and Poppy that will scale into the late game very well. Also, Vanguard holding his own very well in this point now. The execution is cooling, coming in clutch in a lot of those plays, and means that they're able to secure that Cloud Dragon.
And Vanguard also having that 1 kill on the Lucian will help him superbly. A Bumblebee, he was trying to go in, but you see that Steadfast presence. It is so impactful against anyone that wants to jump on you, since Imported Chicken just presses that one button and Bumblebee suddenly cannot trade.
Yeah, and props to Paulson for a second. He's landing a clean 10 CS per minute right now on this Cassiopeia. And obviously with the Twin Fangs, it helps his CS a little bit, but that dominance in this lane so far, really. I mean, I was expecting TF to be able to roam about a little bit, but Z, despite the fact that Paulson's been able to farm very well and get himself a lead, Z's not been able to do anything either thanks to that, and it's props to Paulson to be able to hold this Twisted Fate in that mid lane. Don't let him roam.
And last time we said it was the entirety of Fuzzy Esports stepping up to get them the game 1 win. Now it seems like the entirety of CBA is stepping up their mid game. They are saying we aren't done in this series, it's not even close. And they are looking like they are well on their way to make it a 1-1. but there is still a while to go, since all the spikes we talked about, the Garen, the Twisted Fate, they are still yet to come if you are Fuzzy Esports.
Yeah, I mean, Z has himself a wit's end. So despite the fact that the Archangel staff is out for Paulson, the wit's end going to help even out that item discrepancy, despite the fact there is a huge gold lead ready for Paulson in that mid lane. So overall, I mean, it's still not... I'm not going to say it's over at this point in the game. We're already 12 minutes in, and that's not fair. There are still many different ways that the side of Fuzzy Esports get back into the game, and it's going to be... There's the ways that TF roams, you go Renekton might get a 1v1 kill all of a sudden, Hopper can get a good gank down bot lane, like, they still have plenty of options, just that now, Fuzzy Esports, unlike last game where they were in that driver's seat and they were able to push a lot of the players, this time they're going to have to be the ones in the passenger seat. And unfortunately, no backstreet driving is allowed in League of Legends.
Unknown Sweet sweeping up the wards, Hopper spots the vision ward that saw him for CBA, and that means he cannot do any ganks in the mid lane. Next Drake in 2.5 minutes. CBA might be looking for this dive.
Oh, they are.
Oh, Z already flashing in. The chains connect. Miasma goes down. Z still running away, but the twin flags from Paulson. They're coming in one after another. The cleanse out, and he survives. That's the 5th kill of the game for CBA, but the action doesn't stop. Look at the ball, and Gyazo is trying to dash out. He's gonna flash away to safety. The exhaust down onto Vanguard. He's alive and well, and that's just an unlucky engage from Fuzzy Esports bot lane.
And it feels like Fuzzy Esports now really starting to fall behind in the tempo. However, off camera, that's a kill for Hopper against Unknown Speed. Bear in mind, last time he lost that 1v1 in the jungle, but now all of a sudden he gets it himself. And we're getting the replay right here. Hopper just zooming into that mid lane.
No counterplay.
Unknown Speed not allowed to counterplay there, as the... I believe that's an AP build coming out now, the Runic Echoes in that for Hopper. So don't underestimate this Gragas damage, because as we saw right there, you can get popped, and you don't want that to happen.
It's not fun if that does happen indeed, as Vanguard, he's alone in the ball lane. There comes the Destiny from Z, and Vanguard is forced to use the flash. The casket doesn't get anyone. Vanguard pins the kill onto Z, and Fuzzy Esports, they will need to disengage. Here comes Imported Chicken. The heroic charge into the wall doesn't quite find the stun, and the hijack cast is coming through Gyazo. Unfortunate ultimate, but the kill nevertheless is secured by the top laner, and here comes Paulson. Goes on a killing spree. Necromercer is next. That's a double for the Cassiopeia, and CBA gets 4 kills.
Yeah, and what we see there, great use of the global play from Fuzzy Esports to try and force something. They see Vanguard's quite low, they see the play happen. The issue is that Gyazo is right there to save his friend, and look at the teleport instantly from the side of Imported Chicken. He comes over to this lane, able to peel off kind of the turtle, push him into his enemy team. Unknown Swedes here too, and OG Paulson arrives. So actually, despite the fact that they are the first ones to this global play, they ended up getting outnumbered in the end, and it means that Fuzzy Esports, they lose out on the fight. Paulson scores himself some more kills, and in his top lane, Bumblebee could be getting caught out too.
Flashes out, Unknown Swede, can he follow it through? The chain lash keeps the slow ongoing. Bumblebee though, he's gonna be staying alive, but that's what Fuzzy Esports as a team are doing. 4.5k gold in the back. That's a 4-0-1 Cassiopeia. You are not too happy if you are Fuzzy Esports, but Hopper, he's looking for the play. He looks for the body slam, finds it onto Imported Chicken. There goes the Epscon, Ebduct onto Hopper. Bumblebee, he's stopped from escaping. Imported Chicken on a killing spree, and Unknown Sweet gets the 2nd kill. It just goes from bad to worse if you are Fuzzy Esports.
And it just feels like they're disrespecting what Unknown Speed can do in this game. We saw it before in the river, and we'll see it now. Looking at the damage that Unknown Speed is able to unload in this fight, alongside the peel that Imported Chicken is able to tank up. Look at that. Hopper's just gone out of this one. And then look at the Q here at the end. Just, there you go. Can't just engage onto Unknown Speed like that. It's not going to work. Well, unless that he's like 300 health and you bash body slam.
Necromercer actually stole that blue buff with an auto attack.
Nice.
Paulson won't be getting the enemy blue. There's still the CBA's blue, which I would assume is going to be donated to him at this point in the game. But it's the small victories that matter.
There it is, but you have to look at the gold lead right now. That's 6k, I believe, in favor of CBA. 11 kills to 1 at the 17-minute mark. And whilst the early game is certainly not being the deciding factor in these games, the mid-game, very much the big area for League of Legends right now. And right now, Fuzzy Esports are just falling too far behind in tempo.
That is definitely the case. And now the next Drake is going to be the Mountain. Usually, we talk about how are you going to be coming back, but I feel like if you're a Fuzzy Esports, your only hope realistically is going to be Z and that Garen once you scale up. Because Renekton, quite frankly, not that great in the late game. And Paulsen on the Cassiopeia, he's a player that can solo carry and... Alright, Hopper is just jumping out.
Let's be careful. Look at Paulsen, he's hanging so deep in that jungle there. And with Imported Chicken also coming along, it means that Mountain Dragon going to get secured for a top lane tower. But with CBA's priority down bot lane, I'd say that's a worth.
Yeah, Bumblebee, he's finally taking the shots. So that's the Mountain Dragon. The thing is, with Cassiopeia, it's massive whenever Baron comes up into conversation, because you're just able to melt through that objective.
And now, alongside the Mountain Dragon, it's going to mean it melts that much quicker, and it's going to be such an issue for Fuzzy Esports to try and deal with. And it's inevitable now that there's only 2 minutes till that Baron spawns anyways, and the Rift Herald doing work in this bottom lane now. So he goes the first turret. But the question is, what can Fuzzy Esports do to contest this? Because right now, 4 members of CBA pushing alongside this Rift Herald.
Callahan, Hopper in the brush, the body slam just misses. Here comes the teleport. Bumblebee, he's trying to join the fight. Paulsen will not throw down the miasma just yet. The petrifying gaze secures the stun onto 2. The hijack cast coming through as well. Cal is still on the chase. The Destiny, good flash away from Paulsen. The gold card connects and the cleanse from Paulsen. He's out with the blast cone, the grand escape from the Cassiopeia.
And the amount of cooldowns used on Paulsen there was astronomical, and they still get out in the end. That's so huge. Paulsen, I mean, sure, he's forced to use the flash and the cleanse, unfortunately, but in that fight, you're forcing the Garen to try and flash onto you, like many of the cooldowns use that. We'll go for it in a minute as we see in the replay. First of all, Hopper missing the body slam. Key ability to really hit there. You need to be landing that one in the first place. The teleport, I do like as well, but look at this Paulsen. You see it's supposed to cast to get out. Teleport comes through. Petrifying Gaze catches 2, which is fantastic. And have the turtle. Look at this. Flashes over the wall. Uses the exhaust as well to try and secure this kill. And then Ultra Paulsen flashes over the wall after the Destiny. Still gets stunned, but uses the cleanse. And all of that commitment, all the target focus being put onto Paulsen. But Paulsen gets out for free. And that fight just slips out of Fuzzy Esports' hands.
To be fair, he did burn both of his sums. And whereas, yes, Fuzzy Esports did burn a lot in return, the cask is there. You have the stuns. If Paulsen ever overextends, he's dead.
As you say about that, I don't know, he's not going to be overstanding in the end. I said, with all of the time expecting Bumblebee to pop out the bush and try and pop him, but it's not going to be the case. Does need to be careful though. Damn it, that's 1 Q. Bumblebee's just losing.
Yeah, it's 260 AP, or 259 to be exact. Currently sitting on Paulsen, he is pretty damn big. Fuzzy Esports though, they don't have any vision on this Baron. We mentioned the Mountain Drake. I think it could be coming into effect right now.
Yeah, and now, I mean, Paulsen and us, you can just duo it right now. Z is on the other side of the map. Hopper, the jungler, nowhere to be seen in this Baron, and they have successfully snuck this one. As the Baron Nashor going over to CBA without even a sniff from Fuzzy Esports.
Good sneak away. 21 minutes in, 7,000 gold in the lead. Cal is still level 10. He's gonna get tanky, but it's taking him excruciatingly long. Z, he only has that wit's end. He's working towards his Triforce. Once he hits it, he will be useful, but that is a long way ahead. And right now, CBA, they just don't look like they're stopping.
Yeah, they really do not look like it. I mean, the worry is of CBA now is that they have such a strong lead. What do you do about it? Because this is a point where it isn't just like 2-3k gold. This is 7k gold lead with a 4-0-1 Cassiopeia, with Baron buff also hanging about on all of their members. It's going to be such a hard battle now for Fuzzy Esports to bring back. It's possible, but now it's more now on CBA to play badly then on Fuzzy's also
Hopper going in, that's a big knockout. Paulson, he doesn't have any sums. The petrifying gaze is keeping Kale stand, and he doesn't have enough damage. Unknown Sweet picks up the first kill of the fight. There go all the other ones. That's 3 already for the side of actually CBA, and they are going to look for the base.
Yeah, this is huge for CBA, winning that fight so big, and it's thanks to that goal that they do so. If you see, Paulson gets caught out, goes super low. Imagine that, but instead of being super far ahead in gold, they were even, and there was some more damage on the other side of the fight. All of a sudden, Paulson's at that fight, and Fuzzy Esports ended up winning it in the end. But unfortunately, that gold lead, too big to surmount here, is now... You see that second inhibitor going down. The Baron buff minion is going to start crashing onto those Nexus turrets sooner or later. But CBA, they do not want to risk this game 2 slipping out of their hands. They're going to play it clean. They're going to play it safe. They're going to back off and reset.
CBA, they have got the game 2 in their eyes, wanting to make it an even fight. They are the defending champions, and this game they do look like the CBA we all know and... well, some of us love, and they are 11,000 gold ahead. They are playing like what we expected in this game, and Fuzzy Esports are just, quite frankly, falling apart, at least in game 2.
Yeah, it certainly does. And you see here, here's what I mean. Look at the damage that goes into Paulson here. Now, imagine if there's just a little bit more damage in there. But unfortunately, gets out very nicely. An imported chicken. Beautiful flank here, may I say. The step of presence blocked Murphy from even entering the fight. And then the dive, just easy peasy there. And you know, imported chicken, he's had a fantastic game all in all. Those roams down mid lane, so effective to get Paulson ahead. And then after that, he's done a great job at peeling people off in these fights. But you know, it's hard to point out one person in this game, because really the whole of CBA, like we talked about, you know, last game it was Fuzzy Esports showing up, now CBA want to be part of it.
Oh my goodness, Z is cut down by the calling. Vanguard killing spree. The third inhibitor is in the size of CBA, and I don't think Fuzzy Esports can stop them. Imported chicken is pretty much unkillable with all the armor he has been stacking. The third inhib is gonna go down. That's a good cask from Hopper, but what can Fuzzy Esports get out of it? The answer seems not to be a lot, and now with the Baron buff and 3 inhibitors down, CBA will be looking, well, no, not the Baron anymore, but they will still be looking for the final siege. Oh, there's the engage. The shutdown is found onto Unknown Sweet. Can they get more? Look at Paulson. He's still throwing in the twin fights one after another. He's unstoppable. The shutdown from Bumblebee does connect onto imported chicken. That's a 2-for-2 for now, but the carries of CBA are alive and well. Vanguard dashing forward. The relentless pursuit for the second game. Here comes the Vanguard with the dunk. The death from below is gonna get Z. The Nexus target number 2 is falling, and CBA with a commanding game 2 will equalize the series.
And that will be it. CBA, they secure the game to win there. Even though it's now best of 3 that we all get to feast our eyes upon. And what a performance there. Paulson showed up so hard in that game too. Had a fantastic performance on that Cassiopeia, and so many fights, he just gets out on that little sliver of health, knowing exactly his limits on that champion. But overall, Galena as well, I should say imported chicken, fantastic performance on the Poppy, just completely shut down that Renekton. And as you can see here in the last fight of the game, there is, it feels like every single member of Fuzzy Esports just can't do anything. Z just gets destroyed in that last fight there, and after the numbers disadvantage, it's so hard for anyone else to do anything. Imported chicken does not care about any sort of damage that comes down here, and it's like Cass can do everything. It's just, it feels like at this point CBA have crafted such a lead for themselves that even if that big catch out happens with the Demacian Justice coming down for carry the total, they still win the fight. And so it doesn't really matter in the end. And there's just not enough damage present on the other side of the rift, because really, I mean, who was the primary damage dealer there? It's likely Hopper is the person you're looking at there. Z was unable to do much in most of that game. The Renekton did absolutely nothing, and the Garen Yumi never really got to the point where they became that Garen Yumi that people are scared of. So CBA, fantastic snowball from them, and they're able to secure a game 2 victory.
CBA, they managed to make the series even. They show us what they can. But on that note, we will throw it over to a short break before we'll come back to see which team can put themselves on the match point. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you right back.